Remember when I said I was gonna do one of these a week? That was funny. Try was the key word there. Try. I will continue to try and probably most likely fail in that endeavor. Merry Christmas Eve day, guys, and happy first day after Hanukkah, and Merry Festivus for the rest of us. So I guess in the vein of Christmas with all the feelings and the emotions and the happy joy, I'll talk about the decision to get the tube, like I promised last time. First time a GI doctor discussed getting a feeding tube, my palms immediately began to sweat. This is something I've been fearing and avoiding ever since I learned more about gastroparesis and learned that this was a possible treatment option. The first GI who suggested the feeding tube had a couple of last-ditch attempts that I could try before I officially decided, so I had a little time to grapple with the idea before I actually got it. It was a little different for me than it is for a lot of other tubies because I had a choice. I wasn't in any immediate danger, I wasn't starving, I was just incredibly symptomatic and stuck in bed and couldn't get enough calories to really function any more than just lying down, and food was just the enemy and horrible to eat every day. But still, even with all this, my first reaction was to adamantly reject the idea. No frickin' way I'm having a tube hang out of my stomach. I'm sure you can relate to this idea. I was also terrified of the idea of infection, which turns out not to be as big a risk or a bigger problem as I thought, but we'll get there. I was afraid of just general complications and the social stigma of it. I mean, I have an invisible illness, which can be frustrating because people don't always believe that you're sick. I mean, I actually showered today. I look fine. You wouldn't know that I will not be able to walk 10 minutes without feeling faint. And that can be frustrating, but it's also comforting because you can always hide it if you need to. This makes my illness visible for the first time. I had a lot of mixed emotions about that, especially because I'm kind of private about my health, which is why I vlog about it on the internet. But that's another topic for another time. So I was super against the whole idea, but then I thought about what the tube could do for me. I thought about not having to force myself to eat every 3 hours, which to people with stomachs at work doesn't sound too appealing, but to a person with severe gastroparesis, it's pretty awesome not having to force yourself to eat every couple hours. I thought about not having to force myself to eat on days where I'm flaring. I wouldn't have to worry about how not eating would make it harder to get over the flare, or that lack of hydration would get me stuck in the ER. I thought about not spending 20 hours of the day laying in bed. I thought about hope of getting better, and that's what drove me to decide on the tube. It was hope for improving my quality of life. That doesn't mean it still didn't scare the living shit out of me. When I visited my regular GI and reaffirmed that this was probably something I needed to get right away, I literally started shaking in the doctor's office. The idea of it's scary. It's a serious lifestyle change. And yeah, I went home and I cried my eyes out, which is fun to admit on the internet. What helped me was first gathering all the information I could. So I felt prepared and armed. I think the scariest thing in the world is the unknown, so I tried to arm myself with the knowledge of how to live with a feeding tube. Yeah, that sounded dorky. Okay, moving on. Although it was kind of hard to find all the information I felt I needed to make myself feel prepared, which is why, again, I'm making these vlogs. What ultimately helped me the most was reaching out and admitting I was afraid and talking through it. I was lucky enough to be able to do that on an online support group full of fellow GPers who understand. I was really lucky to have that because I didn't want to make my friends and family know I was nervous, because I thought that would make them nervous, like that's something I could hide. Emotions make humans quite silly. So to anyone about to get the tube or considering the tube, it's okay to be afraid or angry or sad, but it's not as hard as it seems. It's a change. It's a serious change. But it comes one step at a time, and you will have medical professionals to help you through it. And you're welcome to contact me via social media or email if you want some personal advice. You will get used to your new normal. The anticipation before the new normal is the worst part, emotionally. At least it was for me. Gather information, lean on others for support, and most of all, concentrate on the hope. This is a medicine. It can help you get better. I think that idea makes it a whole lot less scary. Subscribe to my channel to get more feeding tube vlogs, and check out spoonshares.com for more tips on chronic illness, as well as a chance to share your own expertise. Sending spoons and love. Take care.